Hey guys, my name is Elissa Bowman. I'm a presidential diamond under Ashley, and she asked me to do this power hour for her whole downline this week. So I'm super excited. For those of you that have been on some of the other power hours or have seen some of the other videos that leaders have done this week, I would just want you to know that a lot of it is repetitive because what we do is somewhat repetitive. It can still be fun. You can still be creative. You can still enjoy it and look forward to it every day. But a lot of what you do to be successful in this business is consistent, small actions that we do every single day. So power hours are great. It's amazing. We want to teach you how much you can get done in a little bit of time. But just know that a lot of this stuff you can do on your own, and it's going to look alike almost every single day. So if you didn't see Tammy's video yesterday about consistency, I highly recommend going back and watching it, and she kind of expands further on that. So as I go through this power hour, I'm going to assume that you guys have some sort of hundreds list that you work through or on or use every day. If not, you can start building one today. And we're just going to mainly go over connecting with people. That's pretty much what we do as It Works Distributors, is build relationships and find ways to connect with people. So I'm not going to go over as much about posting and some different techniques on social media. I'm not going to talk about content because a lot of the other leaders have done that already. We're just going to mainly focus on connecting, who to contact, how to connect with them, how to build relationships quickly on a really busy schedule, because I know most of you guys have a busy schedule. So thanks for getting on with me today. So all of what we're doing today, I have like 5 or 6 tasks that we're going to work on. So I'm going to give you a task. We'll do it for anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next task. But all of the things that I'm going to tell you to do today, they go hand in hand. So for example, if you always grow your network, if every day you are growing your network, then every day it's really easy to add people to your hundreds list. If every day you're adding people to your hundreds list, it's really easy to know who you're going to message every day. And if you're messaging every day, you're always going to have people to follow up with. So if you learn to do just these five or six things over and over, you're never going to run out of people to talk to. You're never going to run out of people to follow up with. And eventually you are going to get into a consistent cycle of enrolling customers and enrolling distributors. So the first thing that we're going to do is super easy. It's easier on Facebook because it gives you more options. So I'm assuming you guys are all on Facebook. You can do it on Instagram if that's where your focus is. We're going to clean up our news feed. So I call this speed scrolling. We're going to spend 5 minutes, and whoever you connect with on social media is who you're going to end up doing business with, because whoever you're seeing in your news feed, that's probably you're probably one of the people they're seeing in their news feed. So we want to make sure that when you're scrolling, most of the people that you see in your feed are potentials. Okay, so it might feel kind of harsh, but I want you guys to try to unfollow anyone that is not a potential distributor or potential customer on your news feed. Facebook has a really awesome option where you can just snooze people for 30 days, and then they'll come back up in your newsfeed after those 30 days are over. It doesn't block them. It doesn't notify them. It doesn't do anything except for cleans up your newsfeed a little bit. I do the same thing with groups that I'm in. Sometimes the same groups show up over and over in my newsfeed. I want to be able to go to my Facebook page, start scrolling, and see potentials. That way I can build relationships. So 5 minutes, scroll through anyone that you can go without seeing in your newsfeed for 30 days that is not a potential of yours. I highly recommend unfollowing, okay? I know some people are weird about this, but I made a decision early on in this business that if I wanted to make a lot of money on social media, I had to find a way to connect with a lot of people on social media. So 30 days at a time, you guys can do that. You can still go to their page if you need to check it out. So we're gonna do this for the next 5 minutes. So around 12:10, we'll move on to the next thing. Just as a little side note, when I say you want potentials in your newsfeed, I don't mean people you've already talked to. I mean anyone that is not already a customer or distributor of yours. Those are potentials. In my brain, anyone that is not already in the computer is a potential for me. So whether or not you've messaged them yet, you can still leave them there. We just want you to have a good number of people in your feed that you're connecting with.
Hi, friend.
I can't find you. Oh, there you are.
Because you didn't see my name. I was hiding.
And I was like, I don't see you. All right. So the other reason that's important that I didn't touch on is that for those of you that do have really busy schedules, and I know that's one of the main excuses people use to not work their business is that they're too busy. Think about how many times you still get on your Facebook. And if you knew every time you're on Facebook and you were aimlessly scrolling that you were actually looking and liking and commenting on potential stuff, you're actually building your business as you're just scrolling. But a lot of times when we leave all that other junk in there, we end up not being productive at all. So I know that even when I'm aimlessly scrolling on social media, I'm still interacting with my potentials. So it'll help you be a little bit more productive. Okay, so the next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna add to our list of potentials, add to our list, our hundreds list, however, whatever you wanna refer to it as. If you don't work off a list, some sort of list, whether it's written in a notebook, on your computer, in a spreadsheet, I highly recommend getting organized in some way, shape, form, fashion, because the longer you're in this business, and if you've been in for 7 years like me, you will forget people that you messaged 6 years ago, nonetheless 2 weeks ago. So get a list together, and what we're gonna do is we are only gonna add people to the list. I'm not asking you to message anyone, follow up with anyone, anything like that. We're gonna interact with people, and then we're gonna put them at the bottom of our list. So we're gonna message people later. These are people you're not gonna even message today. We're just gonna interact with them, let them see us, let them acknowledge us, let them maybe go look at our page, and then in a couple of days, maybe a week or two, you'll get to that part of your list and you will message them. So what I do on Instagram is I normally go to the people that I'm following on Instagram. I scroll through there quite a ways down, and I start clicking one by one. When I find someone that looks like someone I'd want to work with, someone I have something in common with, I can tell they're not already in a company of some sorts, I will go through and I will like 4 or 5 random photos on their page, and then I use a spreadsheet, so I'll add their username to the bottom of my spreadsheet. Okay. The other ways that you can find people to put on your list is looking at the people that view your story. If you use your Instagram story, if you use the Facebook story, you can actually see who's watching your story. So you can go through those names, see if there's anyone that's watching your story that you haven't yet reached out to. You can go through anyone that's liked any of your recent posts. Sometimes I'll go back through the last week, whether it's a business post or just a picture of my dogs or something random. I want to see who's looking at my stuff, because if they're seeing a random picture of my dog, that means they're seeing a lot of my other posts too. And if they're still liking and interacting with me, they clearly haven't unfollowed me. So that's always a good sign that they might be interested in something that you're talking about or posting about. And then just going through your friends list. You can either just start with the A's on Facebook. You can print out your friends list if you want, or going through your Instagram followers. So again, we're just going to interact. Go kind of blow up their newsfeed really quick, make your presence known, let them know that you are looking through their page, and then write their name down. Okay, and we're gonna get as many names down as we can. We're gonna do this for 15 minutes, which I know seems like a lot of time, but the more people you have on your list, the more people you can message on a daily basis. And if there's one thing that holds a lot of people back, is not talking to enough people. So once you have that list established and you've got a good chunk of names on your list, if you will learn to add 5 to 10 people to your list every day, you'll never run out of names to message. So it's something really quick, easy, no pressure that you can do every single day. So about 15 minutes, we're gonna do that. So around 12:30, we'll do something new. If you have never had a hundreds list, if you've just been working from a list in your brain, start writing them down. I use a spreadsheet. You can use regular notebook, grab some highlighters. You can highlight people if they're potential customers, potential distributors. I highlight them once they sign up. So find some sort of system. You don't have to be super organized. I am not a super organized person, but I knew when I wanted to start messaging more people, I needed to find a way to do that. So whatever method works for you, just start somewhere. You can always change it later, and let's try to get as many people on there as you can. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit more as we do this because it's something that you guys should be able to kind of scroll through and look for people as you listen. And I'm just not good at being quiet on power hours. It's awkward to me. So the other reason that you guys will like doing this is because you will notice the more that you interact with these people, the more they will start looking at your stuff. And a lot of times just by going through and interacting on 5 or 6 photos, before I even get to that person to message on my hundreds list, they've already voted on a poll or commented on one of my posts, because the more you interact with them, again, the more that they're going to see your stuff. So I would rather go through individually and interact with people that I think would be great at the business than to just scroll through my newsfeed trying to find people that I want to talk to. Because we all know that we see a lot of the same people over and over. The Instagram algorithm and Facebook, they show us a lot of the same people. They just show us what they think we want to see. But by going through your followers or through your friends list, you're telling Facebook what you want to see. And so you kind of design your own page by who you interact with. And so that's why I do it like this. I know that some people skip the step of actually putting these people on their hundreds list. They would rather message the people, and then if they respond, then they put them on their hundreds list. I do it like this, and honestly, I get a really good response rate from the messages that I send, because in a little bit, we're going to send out messages, and the people that we are going to be messaging, the people that I'm going to be messaging today, I put them on my hundreds list 2 or 3 weeks ago, because I add people to my list every day. So I'm going to go to the top of my hundreds list and start messaging people. So it's genuine when I reach out to them and say, I've been following you for a few weeks now. It's fact. Like, I know I've been following them for a few weeks because they've been on my list for a few weeks. And if I haven't interacted with them since, I know that there was at least one day a few weeks ago that I really creeped on their page. And when I decided I wanted to enroll more people, I wouldn't consider myself a mass enroller, but when I knew that I needed to up my game to get to ambassador, I knew I needed to message more people. But I also didn't want to be a spammer. I just didn't want to copy and paste messages to every single person that I could find. So this is my happy balance. I can message people and I can feel confident messaging them, knowing that I've built some sort of relationship, even if it was just one day of creeping hardcore on their page. I get a really good response rate. Even if people tell me no, they almost always come back with the sweetest message about how they love following me, and they didn't bother me, but they're not interested. Okay. Or that I didn't bother them and they're not interested. So to me, it's just a quicker, easier way to message people, but still feel comfortable with it. So we still have a few minutes of adding people to your list. And if this is not something you've done before, I think you guys are going to love waking up tomorrow knowing exactly who you're messaging. I used to really struggle with waking up, looking at my news feed. I know I need to send out 10 messages this morning, but who do I even talk to? And by the time I would find one person to message, I'd be like, oh, gotta go. So having that list already set up for you kind of takes one more excuse off the table. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is start messaging people. We're going to start with messaging potential distributors. So I'm going to put some messages in the chat that you guys can use. If you didn't already have some sort of hundreds list that you're working from, you can go ahead and just reach out to the people that you just added to your list. Or you can scroll through and try to find some other people to message today. But the trick is being personable, being genuine with your messaging when you're messaging people, but also not spending so much time on messages that you only get out one every 30 minutes, okay? Because again, a lot of you guys are busy, so you have to find a system that works for you to be able to message more people, but still be you and be very genuine and real when talking to them. So I'm gonna put some in the chat, tweak them to fit your personality. A lot of them have emojis, exclamation points, all that fun stuff. The Zoom chat you won't see all of that. So just tweak it to fit your personality. I try to change every message and include the person's first name, but just make sure you're not copying and pasting and sending the wrong name to the wrong person. That means you're going too fast. So we're going to start with potential distributors for about 10 minutes, which usually isn't enough time. I prefer to spend a little bit more time doing that, but I also want to show you guys some other little tasks that you can be working on. So give me just a second and I will put some in the chat for you. Okay, I put about 4 or 5 messages in the chat. I know that we have tons of scripts and examples all over the different team pages, so feel free to pull from anywhere or speak right from the heart. To be honest, it's best to sound just like you and sound like your personality and just to be bold. In my experience, if you can send a bold message, even if you're scared, the bold messages get typically a better response. So I always end it with a question of some sorts. You know, have you ever thought about making extra income? Have you ever thought about doing what I do? Have you ever been a part of a company like this before? Something that is a call to action for them to respond. They're not always going to respond, but the more that you can do to compliment them and to end with a question, the more likely they are to answer. So we'll do this for another 7 or 8 minutes. All right. I know that wasn't a whole lot of time, but I want to get through a few other things before our hour is up. So for the next 10 minutes or so, we are going to reach out to people about being loyal customers or product testers for us. I'm not going to lie, I don't do this as often. Personally, I choose to start with a business opportunity. And then if they're not interested in the business opportunity, or they are too busy or too shy, or one of the million excuses that we get, then I will offer them the loyal customer program most of the time. But I also know that sometimes we need customers, we need volume, we need fast starts, et cetera, et cetera. So sometimes we do need to ask people to try the products. Obviously, if someone shows interest in a product or comments on a post or votes on a poll, I do message them about the products. But as far as just randomly out of the blue, I don't do this as much. So I did ask for some messages from people that I know sign a lot of customers this way. So I'm going to share those in the chat. When I do this, I typically go through people that have been viewing my story and people that have been liking my post first. That's who I start with about trying the products. So I'm going to send you a couple of different things. The first one is just going to be totally out of the blue. Do you want to be a product model for me? The second one is going to be more of a potential distributor message and a potential customer message all in one. So it's going to sound something like, hey girl, I think you would be absolutely amazing at what I do, but I know that a lot of people are hesitant to promote a product line before they try it. So I was thinking maybe you could be a product tester for me. When you love the products, maybe you would think about making extra money on social media with me. And then the last one is going to be taking a potential distributor and converting them to be a loyal customer. So this is going to be good for people that you've been working on for months that just will not buy their distributor kit for whatever reason. They just cannot get over whatever excuse or skepticism that they have. At some point, sometimes it's worth it to transition them and just ask them to try the products for a few months. Okay, not always. Sometimes we just need to wait on people, but there are certain situations where it's better to have them at least trying the products than it is not doing anything. So I'm going to put those messages in the chat. We'll do that for about 7 or 8 more minutes. I love that last message, if you guys read it, because if they decide to be a product tester, you have already planted the seed that you think they would be amazing at the business. So I do have quite a few customers that upgrade to become distributors either during their 3 months or after the 3 months. And I think that is a huge part of it, because when people are thinking about joining a business, or they even 1% think they might want to make money doing this, they're going to pay attention to their results. They're going to use the products more consistently. And we all know that a lot of times, the reason that people don't see results with our products is because they don't actually take them, or they don't take them consistently. So sometimes planting that seed about the business opportunity actually helps get them better results. So I've got 2 more things that we're going to do. We're just going to spend 5 minutes on each of them, or if you want to spend more time doing anything we've already done, feel free to do that. So for 5 minutes, we're going to respond to people's stories, either on Facebook or Instagram. I prefer to use stories rather than my newsfeed, because like I said before, you see a lot of the same people in your newsfeed. But if you use stories and you respond to them, it actually sends as a message. So you kind of can get a conversation started. And I love that. Because sometimes I'll go to message someone that's on my hunters list and realize I've already messaged them before because of something I saw in their story. So just something quick. If they're eating something that looks delicious, comment on that. If they're wearing a cute outfit, comment on that. Just, be genuine. And for those of you that don't know or aren't super familiar with stories, if you tap through, it will show you the same persons until theirs are over. If you see someone you don't care about, or maybe they're not a potential, you can swipe and it'll go to the next person. Not everyone knows that. You don't have to click through all of them. And then growing your network for 5 minutes. So pick Facebook or Instagram, since you only have 5 minutes. Either send out some friend requests or follow some people on Instagram. You can do friends of friends. You can go to a page or a celebrity that you love, see who's posting pictures there. There's a million ways to add people, and I know that on some of the other Zooms this week they talked about that, but you can follow about 40 an hour if you're doing it manually. So find 40 people on Instagram to follow, or add 5 to 10 people on Facebook. And that's how we will close out today's Power Hour. If you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll just be on here working for a little bit longer. Okay, guys, that is our hour. I'm still going to be on here a little bit to work. I'll probably put on some music. Anyone is more than welcome to stay. I just wanted to give you one or two other things to think about. Something that I tell my team a lot, or a lot of my distributors anyways, is that send out the messages. Don't think about what people are going to respond, what questions you're going to have to answer, what excuses they're going to give you, what you're going to say next. Just get the messages out. And I always recommend, if you want to sit down and send out 10 messages, send out the 10 messages before you open anybody's responses. Because as soon as you open that can of worms and you see what their question is, you feel like you need to respond right away, and then you don't get the rest of your 10 messages out. So pick a number, sit down, send it out. As soon as you get your number out, then you can go back through those messages and start responding. People are busy just like you're busy. So if it takes you a little bit to respond, if it takes you a couple hours, if you don't respond until the next day, that's okay. People aren't as urgently waiting for your response as we think they are. So if you are new especially, take some time, ask your sponsor. They might not get back to you right away, but don't feel that pressure that you have to respond to someone right away. Again, especially in the beginning, get help from your sponsor. Learn how to overcome objections, how to answer people's questions, and how to keep it very, very simple. So don't feel rushed to respond. Send out the amount of messages that you want to send. And then just remember that a lot of these things, it's consistency built up over time. So you may have done a lot in this hour that's going to set you up for success 2 weeks from now. Tomorrow, you've got to wake up and do the same thing. And you have to trust the process that what we're telling you we do is what we do and is what has made us successful. And you just have to trust that it's going to pay off for you too. We all have our own journeys. People come around at different times. People overcome their excuses and objections at different times. So you just have to show up. You have to come up with those non-negotiables. If it's you're going to add to your list every day, post once a day, message 10 people a day, whatever your thing is, you have to decide that, and then you have to show up and do it every single day. That's what sets the successful people apart from the people that leave or the people that quit or the people that don't get started, is that they can't see that a lot of times the payoff comes days, weeks, or even months later. So trust the process, keep going. Thank you guys for getting on. Like I said, I'll be on here for a little bit longer. If anyone has questions or wants to hang out, I'm just going to put some music on.